welcome to the how to build your first Flash website tutorial. This tutorial is going to probably be in 3 sections. In this tutorial we're going to be covering how to build a preloader, basic action scripting, and then actually building a fully functioning website that you can modify, play with, change, and upload to your host. It's going to have some components to it that allow you to load a browser window or an HTML document, things like that at the end. But for right now, we're just going to start with the basics. You should have your first window open. This is your first, this is just the basic Flash. This is the first thing you see when you open up Flash. We're actually going to change the size of our document. We can do it right here in the Properties window by clicking on this, or we can come up here to Modify Document. The reason I show you this is because we'll get both. If we clicked here, we would get the same properties. The reason I show you the title is because this creates a meta tag that when you go to export as an HTML page, it will give you a title in the title page, in the title bar right there in your web page. And then you can type in your description here and it will put that in your meta file for your HTML page. Okay. So those are both great options. If you're just going to publish this as an SWF file and then create your own HTML document in Dreamweaver and insert this into it, then you don't need to worry about that. But if you're not going to do that, this is a good place to start. We want our dimensions to be 700 by 500. Now remember, our minimum, if you're in the Dreamweaver class, our minimum screen size that we want to design for is 640 by 480. We want to make sure that that's the smallest screen that's out there. There's very few, hopefully, people that are using that, but they're out there. You want to design for the smallest screen possible. The average screen obviously is the 1025. Okay. We hit OK. You'll notice it made my window bigger. We want to make sure that we're in Show Frame or Show All. It centers it. The next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to actually create 2 layers. So we have this layer, we're going to add another layer, and we're going to add 2 more frames. So we have frame 1, it's got a keyframe in it. I want you to click there, right mouse click, and hit Insert Keyframe. And then I want you to go in your second layer, do the same thing, click in frame 2 of your second layer, right mouse click, and Insert Keyframe. In layer 1, I want you to rename this to Main, and in layer 2, I want you to double click that and call that Script. Okay, we're going to come back here on the main layer and click frame 1 so that that's selected. And we're actually now going to create the text for the preloader. You've probably seen a lot of preloaders online. They can take the form of pictures, bars, graphs, numbers. We're going to create a number preloader here. I'm going to hit my A, I'm going to select this, and I'm just going to type loading. Okay. I want this, I should have said this, I want this to be Verdana. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to come all the way down here. And you know what? It could be Arial, it could be anything you want, but you want to make sure that you stay in the common fonts, okay? Because it's important that we stay with our common fonts. Okay, we're going to click off. I'm going to go back to my arrow tool here. Ooh. We got a problem here, and that's because my text is white and I don't want it to be white. I want it to be black, so I need to go back, select that, and change it to black. It's good when I have these mistakes come up, because if they come up for you, then you panic and you're like, oh God, what happened? And it's an easy fix, so don't get too excited. We want to make sure that it's, again, Verdana 12. Our static, we want it to be static, and then now we're going to play with our placement. Remember though to select off, deselect the text, come back, make sure you have your arrow tool, and select the text again, because we're going to come down here and play with these numbers in the properties. I want this to be 52.2. My height is fine because it's already set, because it's 12 pixels. My X and my Y, I want my X, and that's the placement of the text on the screen. Okay, and remember 0, 0 is the upper left hand corner. right here. So that's 0, 0. So it's going to place that text in reference to this 0, 0 point. Okay, unless you change the 0, 0 point, that's it. That's the default. Okay, so we're going to make this 290, and we're going to make this 200. Okay, so I want it to be pretty exact. I want it to be where I tell it to be. Okay. Alrighty. So now we've got that. Well, I want you to go in and I want you to take and hit F8 and turn it into a movie clip. So we're going to select that, hit F8, let's convert to symbol, and we're going to say load. We'll hit OK. So now we have a movie clip, and if we look over in our library, if your library window is not open, go to Window, select Library, and you shall get the window for the library. And you'll see Load, my load movie clip is right there, and it's called Loading. Okay, I'm going to double click my Load movie clip because I want to go in now and I'm going to put my percentage in there. My percentage is the number 99. We're going to put 99% in there. My percentage is that number is going to become a variable, and that's the number that's going to change. The computer's going to change that for us, and what the computer's going to do is say, oh, guess what? When the website's loaded, we're going to program it in to say when the website, as the website loads, I want you to show what percentage of the website is loading or is left to load. Normally it's what's loaded. Preloaders are for websites that have very front-end heavy. They've got audio they're loading, video they're loading, text, graphics, things like that. And it's an interaction with the user so that the user doesn't take off. Okay, it's an interaction with the user so the user doesn't take off. Okay, so I'm going to come select my text tool again. I'm going to hit over here and I'm going to type 99%. I'm going to select my arrow key again, I select, and I'm going to come back here and I'm going to now play with this. I can, as I move this around, you'll notice that I can play with this and it'll kind of line me up somewhere close. Okay, we want to just be close because I'm going to position this. So I'm going to make this dynamic text. Ooh, it says, guess what? It's not big enough for that. But that's okay because we're going to play around. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say I want it to be 51.1 wide. And that stretched, you'll notice it stretched it out a little bit. And the reason is because we have two numbers up there and a percent symbol. We're going to have three numbers up there because remember 100, 100, and the percent, so we need to have enough room for that one, and the one's not real big. The height is going to be 18.5. Okay, and my X location, I'm going to tell it to be at 58.9, and my Y is Zippo. Okay, my Y is zip. Okay, so looky here. We got a little, do we have a problem? I don't know. You know, it just kind of depends on how we want to play with this. Okay, but this right now is it. And notice as I start to move it down, it lines it up with the placement here. This will soon become part of this whole movie clip. Okay, and then in my variable box here in the properties, I want to make P for percent because we're going to use that in a minute. So that's all done. I hit deselect. I come to my, I'm going to go back to scene 1, select that, and notice, there it is. It's there all by itself. Alrighty. I'm going to select the movie clip and I'm going to program that puppet now. So my movie clip load is selected. I don't want to double click it. Do not double click it. I just want to click it once. Should have that blue box, and then this should have this dotted line separating both of these text boxes. Make sure instance of load is selected and go to your actions window. Okay, hit the actions tab and you'll get this actions opened. If you don't get this here, this script, if you don't have the ability to type in the script, select Script Assist. Okay, if it looks like this, you can't click in here and it's going to make you come over here and pick all of these instead. I want you to come here and hit Script Assist so that we can kind of go in and type what we need to type. Okay, we'll also be able to come in and load our own functions using the scripts over here, which will save us some time, but I want you to kind of get used to typing it and looking at it. You'll see ActionScript 1 and 2 selected here. If you only wanted certain ActionScript selected, and that's Flash Lite, which is the light version of Flash, we're not using that. We're just going to work in ActionScript 1 and 2. Okay, so I'm going to click here, and we're going to, since we're working with a movie clip, we're going to tell the clip to do some stuff. Okay, remember we're working in this first frame, so when the movie comes up on the web page, it automatically goes to this first frame. Boom. Well, I'm going to come here and I see global functions, I see movie clip control, and it says on clip event. So I'm just going to click that. And it says, wow, what do you want to do on your clip event? Load, unload, enter frame, mouse down, mouse over. It gives us some options. In this case, I want it to be load. I want it to load something. What could I possibly want it to load? Well, I want it to load my percent counter. I want it to load my preloader. Okay. This is, you'll see this bracket here and this bracket. This is where we're actually going to put our programming text to tell it to do something. I'm going to say total. Okay, I'm going to give this a variable called total, and the total is in the root. And in the root we want to say get. Oh, and notice as soon as I type G, I get get. I want it to do something, and I want it to get the bytes loaded. How many bytes have loaded up? Well, so far none. We have the total there. We're going to tell it to do something in a minute. Okay, so we want to create another clip event. We've created the variable total. Now we're going to do another clip event. Movie control on clip event, and we want it to do something. We're telling it to enter the frame, so it goes right into the first frame. And we pretty much now are taking over control of the movie. Once we start programming the first frame, we're taking control of the movie right off the bat. Okay, so now we have to tell the computer that's bringing this, or the program, the Swift file, what to do from this point on. Because up until this point it's just a movie and it's going to play, but now we've programmed it. So now it's got to be told what to do. So now we're going to say, we have our variable loaded. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Loaded equals, okay, remember loaded, and we have loading percentages, equals, and we go to the root, and the root is get, and again we're going to do that get bytes loaded. And in the get bytes loaded, we've loaded that. Now we're going to say, we want to create another variable called percent. Percent has an integer, and that integer is loaded, okay, divided by total times 100. Okay, what are we doing here? Well, we're now creating an integer called loaded. We're creating a percent, and the percent, the variable percent is the integer loaded divided by total times 100. So how much of it's loaded divided by the percentage. Does that make sense? How much of the website is up, how much is left to go. And that total is the percentage. Okay? Okay, so now we have to say, we want to show that. How are we going to show that? Well, remember P, that 99%? P's our variable. And P is quotes plus percent. Remember this percent right here? Okay, plus, we're going to close that quote percent, and we have this little percent symbol we want displayed, and we're going to close that quote. So it's percent, the percent symbol. So this number is going to go right here in this percent plus the percent symbol. We've closed our quotes and we close the line of programming. We go to the next line and we want to say, okay, what do you want it to do now? Well, if it's loaded, I want it to go to and stop. So notice now it's blue because that's a command, but I have it all together. A in the word and S in stop are capitalized. So I say I want it to go to and stop percent. Okay, and I'm closing that line of text. Oh, I made a big boo-boo. What was it? I spelled percent wrong. So important. You've got to spell this stuff correctly. Okay. At the end of this line, it's an if statement. Okay, so if it's loaded, okay, if it meets these conditions, if loaded is equal to the total, and remember what's our total, okay, if it goes to the root, which is our root, which is this scene is our root, and then we go, and notice how this little stuff starts to pop up now. We go to and play. No, we want it to go to and stop. Click on that, go to and stop, and now it says stop where? Well, we're going to give it a frame number. So remember when I told you add 2 frames? We've got frame 1 and frame 2. So if it meets the conditions, it's loaded the website, it's completely loaded, it's going to go to the second frame, and that's where our website's going to be. We're going to close down that text. One of the things we didn't do was we needed to add an opening bracket here because we have a statement, an if statement. And the if statement says if it's loaded and it's total, we have a condition that it has to meet. It goes to and stops at 2. Okay, so we had an opening bracket to cover for our go to and stop at 2. Then we come down here and we need to have as many closing brackets as we have opening brackets. Okay, so we need as many closing brackets as we have opening brackets. So we have this one for this one, and then we need make sure we have this closing bracket here. Opening bracket has a closing bracket there, and we're done. So again, let's go back. On the clip event, we want it to load. Here's this clip event load. Total equals bytes loaded. So we're setting up that very first programming event. Then on the clip event here, we want it to enter the frame. So if it's loading that, we're saying, okay, this is the condition, you're going to get loaded. You're going to not get loaded, but loaded. Then we say enter the frame. So do your business. Loaded equals, get bytes loaded. Percent is the integer that is loaded divided by total times 100. P is our percent, so this is what's going to be displayed. Percent, which is this variable right here. Go to and stop at percent, and then we have our if statement. If it's loaded and total equals total, so remember here's our total is here, our variable total's there, and our variable loaded is there. If this is confusing, don't worry. When you take another Flash class, it won't be so confusing, hopefully. Okay, that's done. So we've got our pre-loader. You can test it now if you want, but make sure that you have everything programmed correctly. What's going to happen if you don't? It's going to come up, a debugging window is going to come up as soon as you go. So let's see. Go to File. We want to save this file. Save as, and let's just call this, oh, here's the one from before. We'll say full website. Yeah, I want to exist. I want to replace it. Okay, so now you've built your preloader. The next thing we want to do is we want to actually go in now. Before we do anything else, we need to put a stop action so that it stops here, does what the program tells it to do, and once it's met those conditions, it will move forward. So we want to come in here. We just want to click the frame because that's where we're going to put the action on the first frame. We're going to go here, and then we're going to go to, we can do a global function, timeline control. It is a stop. Double click stop and it sets it up for us. Otherwise you can just type stop, parentheses with nothing in it, and then ending or terminating the line of code. Okay, so don't forget to save this, Control S, and we're going to move on now to actually building the website. So I want you to go ahead and click here in the first frame. Okay, so if you were to try this right now, there's nothing to load. So there's, you know, if you went to publish this, it would come up so fast. There's no content, so go ahead and try that. The other thing I realized is I went back through and I want to look at my timeline here. I selected my loading here. Oops, let's go back here. I want to select this again. I want to just make sure that all of my text is correct here. What I realized was that I had missed, make sure that you're terminated on all of these. I wasn't terminated, I believe it was on loaded. So you want to make sure that all of these, as you see the text right now, is set up correctly. Okay, it's really important that these lines of code be terminated this way within the code brackets. Okay, so make sure that these, and I believe it was this one, loaded, didn't have the terminating line. So you want to make sure that they all have that, okay, just in case. Okay, so if you were to play this, again, if you were to play this movie, it would come up so fast you wouldn't even notice it because there's nothing to load. Okay, so now it's time to work on our movie. Now we're going to actually go in and set up our movie so that you can, we're going to actually start to build the darn thing. I want you to go in, and on this frame we're going to come in and I want you to select a little, let's make a rectangle. I don't want a stroke around it, I just want a color, so I selected stroke, put the little line here. Put my line back on, and then I got my paint bucket. I'm going to make my little box, and I'm actually going to go in and make it my size that I need. So I want you to select that, go to your H and W. Your W should be 700, whoops, not 17, 700. Your H is 500, okay, and then your positioning is 0 and 0. Okay, remember what we said about the positioning up here. It is the upper right hand corner, or the upper left hand corner is your 0, 0. So X and Y. Okay. Alright, I want you to select this again, hit F8. We're going to turn it into a movie clip, and we're actually going to call it main. So we're going to make this our main movie clip. We're going to hit OK. So now we have two movie clips. We have the load movie clip and we have the main movie clip now. Okay, so we have those two things happening. The main movie clip is going to have everything in it. It's going to have the movie clips, the buttons, the text. It's going to have everything in it. Because when we go to load the website, you're only going to see these two frames right here, and that's pretty common. If you look at a lot of websites, they have two frames that show up. If you're to look at their FLA file, their flash file, you're only going to see that main little thing there, okay? The one or two frames, and it's not as though that there isn't anything in there, but it's all nested. It's down, you know, in files, lower and lower and lower and lower. Okay, I want you to double click on this, and you'll notice now within our main little frame here, our little main window, okay, I want you to convert this to symbol again. I want you to select it again, and I want you to hit F8, and we're going to actually make this BG, background, or you can call it background, you can do whatever. We're going to hit OK, and this is where we're going to put our background. This is where we're going to put our text. This is where we're going to put everything in our background so that it's nested away from everywhere. I want you to double click on that again. So now what you see is now I am in my scene. I'm in the main and I'm on the background here. If I go back to main, actually I want you to select the main layer, or I mean the main movie clip, and I want you to add some movie clips here. We've got our background. Well, let's do this. We actually have, I want you to double click the background. I'm sorry, let's go back. Double click the background, and in the background I want you to make this BG for the background color. And I want you to add some layers. I want you to add a couple of other layers in there because we're going to be putting stuff on top of that. Okay, so we've got the background layer. Okay, and I want you to work with those things right now. We're just going to work. We've got the background here is our, well, let's just name this black, because we're gonna use BG someplace else. So we'll call this black. We can go in and call the other colors by their names. We can call them blues, grays, greens, whatever. But for right now, in our BG movie clip, which is nested in the main movie clip, and the main movie clip is nested in scene 1. Okay, so hopefully that's not confusing. If you look at your window, your library window, you now have the background, you have the load, and then you have the main frame, or the main movie clip. And the main movie clip's going to have everything in it. But we're working in the background right now, and that's our BG. So you want to make sure that the BG is open, and that's where we're going to be working. Okay, we're going to make another rectangle on a new layer above the color, and we're just going to kind of come in here and set it up. I want you to come in. We're going to pick another rectangle. I don't care. I want you to put on layer 2 because I don't want to interfere with this black. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select this, and guess what? I don't like that color, so I'm going to come over here and make a change. Actually, I'm going to select this. I'm going to change my hexadecimal color here to 40 or 4B 585D, which is a hexadecimal color. I'm going to hit enter, and it goes, oh look, it's that. Oops, I should have selected this, huh? That's the one. Okay, so make sure you have that selected. I didn't have it selected. That's why I was all messed up. So it's 4B 585D. Hit enter, and that's our different color. The other thing I want you to do is we're going to be working a lot with our widths and our heights and our placement, our line placement. So I want you to think about that. We're gonna do that a lot. So what I want you to do is, this is going to be 700. Oops. 700. And then tab down. Our height is going to be 400. Our X is going to be 0. And then our Y is going to be 80. Okay, so we're saying that we want it to be right along the X, which is this line here, and our Y is going to be down 80 pixels. Okay, so that's where it is now. So that's what it looks like. So let's show frame. So that's what it looks like. Let's show all, actually. How's that? Show all. So that's what it looks like right now. So that's good. We don't have to worry about that. I want you to go in now, and I want you to go in, and we're going to make another one. So go to layer 3. We're going to make another rectangle. I just want you to come in here. I want you to select the rectangle. Just draw one. Come back, select it. And I want you to come in here, and we're going to use some numbers. Now, you can use whatever colors you want. If you're in the web design class, you know your color theory. If you have an antagonistic relationship with your colors, or if you have something that is, you want them to be in the same family, your complementary colors, or you want your colors to have an antagonistic relationship. Each choice has a reason. Okay, client might want something that's in the same color family. They're going, remember that certain colors mean certain things, and they're trying to stay within a certain color family. Look, if you're going to be doing an air conditioning website, you're not going to be using blacks and browns and grays. You're going to be using whites and blues and purples, because those mean cold and cool, and that's what you want that feeling, that website to feel. So anyway, these are all in the same color family, and you'll see when we're done how great this is going to look. I'm back down in my properties window. I want my width to be 626. 0.00. I'm going to tab that. I want my height to be 500. 0.00. I want my X to be 36. Oops. And I want my Y to be zip. Nothing. Nada. There it is. So what we've done is we've put color on top of color on top of color. Okay. We're not done. Of course you know we're not done. I'm going to add another layer. So just click that. And I'm going to click in there, and guess what? I'm going to add another layer. So all I'm doing is kind of putting color on top of color, looking for something sophisticated. Anyway, alrighty. So I'm going to, this time I'm just going to put my little box out here. I'm going to select it. I'm going to change my color. I think, oh, I don't know. What am I going to go for this time? Maybe I think I'll just go for the color that I used here. So I'm just going to come here. I think I'm just going to go with this color this time. But I want to make some, I want it to be 610. Oops, come down here in my width, sorry. I want it to be 610.0. Tab down. I want my height to be 522.0. I want my X to be 44. And my Y to be 80. Okay. I hit enter, and there it is. Now, is there a problem? Could be. Let's look at our website. So let's show all. Got a little problem. What is it? Well, guess what? It can't be that dang big. Actually, we're going to want to change this. We're going to want to make it just a smidge smaller. So I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to line that up just like that. There we go. That doesn't look too bad. Okay. Alrighty then. So there we are. We have our little colors all nested. We can change that. We can make it anything we want. You know, if I want this to be black, I can make it black. If I want it to be whatever. I'm in my color family here. I can make some changes. I can make it to be whatever I want. It's my website. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to just go ahead and leave it there like that for right now. Work with whatever you want. Basically, it's whatever you want it to be. Okay, on this background layer, I'm going to add some text, but I want to add a text layer, so I'm just going to call this logo. I'm going to select that frame. I'm going to hit my logo there, and I want this one to be, let's go with Arial. I want a kind of a sans serif font, which means I don't want any curly cues or squigglies on there. And I want to, actually I'm just going to make this, I'm going to type in Hartnell College Beginning Flash. I'm going to pull that over. And I'm going to come in here and kind of play around with this. 12's too small. I need something a little bit bigger. I want it, remember this is our logo. This is what the class, this is the website, the front of your front page. This is going to be on the website. You want it to be something, okay. Big enough? Yeah. Problem is, what's my problem? The color of the text. So I'm going to just come down here and I'm going to change it. I don't want it to be dynamic. I'm going to make it static. Okay. I don't need it to be dynamic. I just want it to be static. And I want to play around. I'm going to move it, change the location. Remember, this is our logo. If you had something else you wanted to use, you could import a file, you could import an image, you could import a graphic, whatever you wanted to use. Also remember that because this font is nested in the website, it's going to be looking for that font on the host computer, on the computer that's going to be viewing it. So you want to remember that. It's going to be looking for that font. So stay within the main fonts. I'm going to come down here and add another font. It's, I'm going to make that a little smaller. I'm going to go with, say, 16. And I'm going to go back to Verdana. You want to stay within the fonts that your host computer, you know your host computer is going to have. So that's real important to remember that not every computer user is going to have that really cool Draftsman font or that comic book font or that anime font or that race car font. So you want to stick with the basics. Now the other thing you could do obviously is take it and change it from font to a graphic. And we do that by breaking it all apart, and you'll work more with text in the intermediate Flash class. But for now, this is what we're going to do. So we have Hartnell College, Beginning Flash. Now, the Beginning Flash could be a different color, or the Hartnell College could be Hartnell College colors if I wanted to, that maroon and gold. Remember, who's your audience? What are you trying to convey? What are you trying to work with? Okay, and the last thing I want to do is I made a bar and I want to bring it in. So I'm going to import to library, and here's my Flash website. Here's the bar, and there it is right there. That's what it looks like. I'm going to just pull that little puppy in, drop it in here, kind of put it in there. How's that look? Not too bad. This is a bar. You know, these colors work with all the other colors that we're working with right now. Okay, so it fits. It works. It sits right there. It's going to be used later, but for right now, this is our background. And all of these images, text, and backgrounds, and colors, and rectangles are on the background movie clip. Okay. And this background movie clip is in the main movie clip. And there's the main movie clip. Okay, I want you to hit Control S, save this little puppy. You've worked hard. Alrighty, I'm going to stop the tutorial here. We'll work on the next section of the tutorial. Check everything out. Check your code. Publish it. See if it loads. There's not a lot to load right now, so that preloader isn't going to be loading too much. Alrighty, if you have any questions, give me a call. See you in the next tutorial.